I thought I knew every corner of my marriage until I found an apartment lease in my wife's name. Signed by another man? The worst part? He paid for it. And when I unlocked that door myself, I saw something that changed everything and ended with karma knocking louder than I ever could. If you believe betrayal deserves karma, hit that like button, because what happened next, no one saw coming. I used to believe love was simple, that when two people promised forever, they meant it. I wasn't naive. I just trusted her. Leora had this way of making me believe in things I'd stopped believing in years ago. We built a quiet little life together, the kind that looks ordinary from the outside but feels golden when you're in it. Our mornings started with coffee and teasing, her humming in the kitchen while I scrolled through emails. Even the silence between us felt warm, like it had its own language. I thought we were happy. Honestly, I thought we were solid. When she started working longer hours, I didn't question it. She was ambitious, driven in that magnetic way that made people admire her. She'd come home late, sometimes after midnight, smelling faintly of expensive perfume and exhaustion. I'd ask, "Rough day?" And she'd smile tiredly. "You have no idea." Then she'd lean in, kiss my cheek, and everything inside me would just settle. But slowly, I started noticing things that didn't make sense. Her phone face down more often. Her laughter came from another room, softer, secretive. One night, she slipped up and called me by another name under her breath. She brushed it off with a laugh, saying she was thinking about a client, but the sound of that name stayed in my head, looping. Still, I didn't confront her. Maybe because part of me didn't want to know. It's easier to live in denial when your whole world depends on the lie. One weekend, I planned a surprise dinner for her promotion. Candles, music, the works. She didn't show up. Her text came 3 hours later. "Sorry, emergency meeting." No apology, no call. Just that. I sat there at the table, the food cold, my reflection in the wine glass looking more like a stranger than a husband. But even then, I held on. Because love, real love, doesn't die easy. It cracks slowly in quiet places. You don't even realize it's breaking until you look down and realize your hands are bleeding from trying to hold the pieces together. That night, something inside me shifted, a whisper that said, "Something's wrong." I just didn't know then how right that whisper would be, or how dark the truth behind it really was. It happened on an ordinary Tuesday, one of those days that shouldn't mean anything but ends up changing everything. I was running late for a meeting and couldn't find my car keys. Leora had borrowed my jacket the night before, so I started checking her purse for them. That's when I saw it, a folded document tucked beneath her wallet. I wish I could say I hesitated before touching it, but I didn't. Something in me, some buried instinct, reached for it before logic could stop me. The paper felt heavy, expensive, official, a lease agreement. My eyes scanned it once, then twice. It wasn't our address. It wasn't any place I recognized. And the name beside hers wasn't mine. It said Calenduri. I read it out loud, the syllables sharp in my mouth. The lease was for a high-end apartment downtown, months paid in advance. My chest tightened. My wife's name was on it, but the payment came from him. For a full minute, I just stood there, hearing nothing but the sound of my pulse. Then, like an idiot, I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it's for a client. Maybe she's subletting for work. Maybe I'm losing my mind. When she came home that night, I asked casually, "Hey, what's this apartment on Wren Street?" She blinked, froze for a fraction of a second, then smiled too quickly. "Oh, that? A client project. Long-term campaign thing? You know how chaotic it gets." I nodded, pretending I did. But something about the way she avoided my eyes, the way her fingers tightened around her phone, told me she was lying. Later, when she showered, I opened her messages. Not to invade her privacy, but because I couldn't breathe without knowing. Most were normal, but there were a few from a saved contact with no name, just a single heart emoji. "You looked amazing today. Same place tomorrow?" I put her phone down, hands trembling. My reflection in the mirror looked like a man I didn't recognize. Someone standing at the edge of a truth he wasn't ready to face. That night, I memorized the address on that lease. Not out of curiosity. out of something far colder, the quiet, shaking need to see it with my own eyes. The next evening I told Leora I'd be working late. She smiled, relieved maybe, or just pretending not to care. As soon as she left for her supposed meeting, I grabbed my keys and drove straight to the address from the lease. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel, but my mind was strangely calm, like the storm had already hit and I was just walking through the wreckage. The GPS led me to a glass tower downtown, the kind of building with valet service, gold accents, and smiles that cost money. I sat in my car for a full 5 minutes, staring at it. This wasn't just any apartment. It screamed luxury. Too perfect. Too intentional. Inside, the air smelled like fresh paint and expensive cologne. The lobby lights were warm but sharp, reflecting off marble floors that looked too clean to touch. A doorman approached, polite and professional. "Good evening, sir. Are you here for Mr. Dury?" My throat tightened. I forced a half smile. Yeah, he expecting someone. The man nodded. "Miss Leora Rice usually visits around 7. It was like the world slowed down. My name, her name, all twisted together in someone else's schedule." I muttered something, turned away, and left before the weight in my chest made me collapse. Outside, I leaned against the car, trying to breathe. The city was alive around me, horns, laughter, life, but I felt like a ghost. Every sound felt distant. Every heartbeat too loud. I drove home in silence, the image of that lobby burning behind my eyes. Every part of me wanted to storm back, demand answers, scream until my voice broke. But I didn't. Not yet. Because something colder was growing inside me. Patience. The kind that only comes when you realize you've been played, and you decide you'll make your move when they least expect it. That night, while she slept beside me, I reached into her bag and copied the spare apartment key she always carried for emergencies. She didn't even stir. As I lay there afterward, staring at the ceiling, one thought repeated in my head like a curse. If that apartment is what I think it is, then tomorrow I'll find out what kind of woman I actually married. The next day felt like it stretched for years. Every minute at work dragged like I was moving through water. My thoughts weren't even thoughts anymore, just flashes of her face, her laugh, that fake smile she gave when she lied. By the time the sun dipped below the skyline, I already knew what I was going to do. She texted me that evening, saying she'd be stuck at a client dinner and not to wait up. I typed back, "No problem. Take your time," even added a smile emoji, just to make it convincing. Then I took the key, got in my car, and drove. The city lights blurred through the windshield. My heart thudded so hard, I could hear it over the engine. When I reached the building, everything was quiet, too quiet. The same doorman nodded politely as I walked in. Holding the elevator button like this was just another night. But for me, it was the end of everything I thought I knew. The elevator opened on the 12th floor. The hallway smelled faintly of her perfume. I found the door one to be, and for a second, my hand froze over the handle. What if I was wrong? What if this was all in my head? But deep down, I already knew. I always did. The key slid in smoothly, like it belonged there. When the lock clicked, the sound was deafening. I stepped inside. It was beautiful. Warm lights, soft music playing from somewhere, a vase of fresh lilies, her favorite. My eyes moved across the room, and then I saw it. Our wedding photo, tucked behind a lamp, face down. I walked further in, my shoes silent against the polished floor. There were men's clothes draped across a chair, cufflinks on the table, a shirt I didn't own. Her perfume lingered in the air like a ghost. And then laughter. A man's voice. The click of heels. I didn't hide. I didn't move. I just stood there as the door opened behind me and she stepped in, mid-laugh, holding a bottle of wine. Until she saw me. Her smile died instantly. He froze behind her. And in the silence that followed, I said the words that split her world apart. "So, this is the apartment he bought for you." For a second, no one moved. It was like time folded in on itself, her hands still clutching the bottle, his lips parting to speak, and me. Standing there feeling everything and nothing all at once. Then the silence broke. The bottle slipped from her fingers, shattering against the floor. Damon, she stammered, her voice small, breathless. It's not what you think. I almost laughed. Not what I think. That's what they always say, right before the truth finishes burning what's left of you. He stepped forward, trying to sound calm. Man, you need to relax. Let's just talk. I didn't let him finish. My fist connected with his jaw before the sentence left his mouth. The sound echoed a dull, heavy thud that felt too satisfying. He stumbled back, blood at the corner of his lip, eyes wide. Leora screamed, grabbing my arm. Stop. Please, stop. Why? I snapped, shaking her off. You didn't stop when you brought him here. You didn't stop when you lied every night. My voice cracked, not from weakness, but from the sheer weight of betrayal sitting in my chest. She kept saying my name like it could pull me back. But I was already gone. Whatever version of Damon she once loved had died the moment I opened that door. I pulled the lease papers from my jacket and threw them on the table. You think you're smart, Leora? You'd think I wouldn't find this? My voice was shaking, but the rage underneath it was steady, cold. You built a life with him. You let him buy you this. Her eyes filled with tears, but I didn't feel sorry. Not anymore. He tried again, holding up his hands. Listen, man, she told me. I don't care what she told you, I said, stepping closer. You knew she was married. He looked down. Guilty. Pathetic. Leora whispered, please. Let's talk about this at home. I stared at her, the woman who once meant everything, and finally said, we don't have a home anymore. Then I walked out. No shouting. No goodbye. Just the sound of glass crunching beneath my shoes and my heartbeat thundering in my ears. Behind me, she called my name again, but this time it didn't mean anything. The days after that night blurred together, a fog of rage, disbelief, and silence. Leora tried to call me, texted endlessly, even showed up at my office once. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Every word she'd ever said now sounded like a lie replaying in my head. And in that silence, something inside me hardened. Not just anger focus. You see, heartbreak can destroy you, or sharpen you. I chose the second. One night, I sat down at my desk and opened my laptop. If she could lie that easily, I could learn the truth just as easily. I started digging into Calenduri. He looked successful on the surface, but success leaves a trail. And his trail? It was built on sand. Fake company registrations, doctored portfolios, borrowed money. He wasn't rich. He was a con artist, hiding behind designer suits and charm. The deeper I dug, the more it made sense. He didn't just buy her an apartment. He used her. Her company connections. Her access to clients. She wasn't just unfaithful. She was involved. I didn't want revenge that would land me in jail. I wanted something cleaner, smarter. The kind that left no fingerprints, just justice. So I packaged everything I found. Falsified invoices, offshore account trails, fake branding documents. Then I sent it anonymously to his investors, her company's HR department, and the building's property management. It took 3 days. 3 days before the dominoes started to fall. His company's accounts froze. Her office buzzed with rumors. I watched quietly from the sidelines, saying nothing, just letting karma read the script I'd written for it. And then I went one step further. I contacted the leasing office of that luxury apartment and sent them proof of Callan's fraud. The apartment, the one he bought for her, was registered under his name with illegal funds. Within a week, the lease was terminated. The property was seized for investigation. They lost it all: the apartment, the jobs, the illusion. And me, I didn't gloat. I didn't even smile. I just closed my laptop, leaned back, and whispered to the empty room. I didn't need to destroy them. I just opened the door and let karma walk in. Months passed. The chaos faded into background noise, like a storm that had already torn through and left only broken pieces behind. I moved out of the house, changed my number, and started over somewhere smaller, quieter. People always talk about revenge like it feels good, like it gives you closure. But the truth is, it doesn't feel like victory. It feels like silence. Heavy, still, endless silence. Sometimes, I'd catch myself wondering if she missed me, if, in that perfect little world she tried to build, she ever thought of the man who once would have given her everything. But then I'd remember how easily she gave it all up, and the thought would dissolve like smoke. One evening, I got an email from her. No drama, no excuses. Just 4 words. I'm sorry. Please talk. I ignored it. Then came another. Then a third, longer, desperate. She said she'd lost her job. Her friends had distanced themselves. And Callan had vanished when the investigations started. She claimed she didn't know about his fraud, that she just fell in love with the wrong man. Maybe she believed that. Maybe she didn't. Either way, it didn't matter anymore. Out of some strange mix of curiosity and closure, I met her once in a tiny cafe far from the city. She looked empty. Her eyes, once full of ambition and fire, were dull. The kind of dull that comes from living with regret. She reached for my hand. Damon, please. Can't we start over? I pulled my hand back and said quietly, You didn't just lose me, Leora. You lost the version of yourself that I loved. She cried, whispered that she'd changed. But I could see the truth. She wasn't sorry for betraying me. She was sorry for getting caught. I stood up, left some cash on the table, and walked away without looking back. A month later, I saw her name on a headline. Leora Rice under investigation for aiding financial fraud. The same apartment lease, the one she'd tried to hide, had her signature on it. She wasn't just connected to the crime. She was part of it. And in that moment, I didn't feel rage or satisfaction. Just peace. Because karma didn't need my help, it already knew her address. It's strange, you know? How the quiet after the storm feels heavier than the storm itself. There were nights I'd sit by the window, just listening to the hum of the city, wondering how something as powerful as love could turn into something that hollow. I thought revenge would make me feel alive again. It didn't. It just cleared the space where pain used to live. But somewhere in that emptiness, I found something better: perspective. People think betrayal is the worst thing that can happen to you. It's not. The worst thing is losing yourself while trying to hold on to someone who's already let go. I spent months breaking my back to keep a marriage alive that she'd already buried. And when I finally stopped fighting for her, I realized I should have been fighting for me all along. I don't hate her anymore. I don't even think about her much. I think about the man I was before, the one who believed love was unshakable, trust was forever, and kindness could fix everything. That man needed to be broken so I could learn something he never understood. Love doesn't mean staying blind. When people betray you, they don't just teach you pain, they teach you boundaries, clarity, and strength. They show you exactly what you will never tolerate again. And that's a gift disguised as heartbreak. Sometimes I imagine her hearing my name somewhere, wondering if I ever forgave her. The truth is, I did not because she deserved it, but because I deserved peace. Forgiveness isn't for the one who wronged you. It's for the one who survived it. If you've ever trusted someone who shattered that trust, listen, you're not broken. You're just being rebuilt differently, sharper, wiser, stronger. So yeah, I lost my marriage, my illusions, and a version of myself I'll never meet again. But I gained something far more valuable. The quiet kind of strength that only comes from walking through fire and realizing it didn't burn you, it refined you. If this story hit something inside you, if you've ever been through betrayal and found your way back, hit that like button, share this story, and subscribe. Because trust me, karma always finds its way home.